the case.
Helps when I don't mute myself. Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Free-to-Play Cast, episode 122, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. magicman, and joining me for this last Free-to-Play Cast of 2014, your favorite, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir, heading into the holidays?
You mean we're not going to do one every day for the next week?
What? Wait, whoa,
That's
what?
what I thought.
What? That's
and
not the
Christmas.
That's not the schedule I made. What the hell?
Soccer.
Happy holidays to all of you out there for whatever holiday is your choice. Enjoy it. Be safe. We'll see you in 2015. We'll be recording our next episode Tuesday, January 6th, so you'll watch it Thursday, January 8th, and
Nobody's
then
going to remember all those dates.
yeah, we'll just go weekly from there. No show next week is all you need to really remember. There you go. No show next week. But we've got a lot to cover, including the big one, the Fans' Choice Awards, which we put out there 2 episodes ago. We're going to reveal all the winners here on the Free-to-Play Cast, so let's slide over and get the news covered. Alright, first up today, we've kind of mentioned this game. You know, it hits a little close to home for us with Spunkify being previously part of the MMO Bomb team and poking his nose in here and there to do a first look at things. But he left to become the community manager for Skyforge by my.com, and we really haven't talked about it too much. You and I have mentioned it in passing when we were talking about some other topic. But this week we finally got some real nuts and bolts to take a look at here when the devs released a video of them playing one of the solo instances in the game. Get your opinion on that too, on solo instances as we go. With both their Paladin and their Cryomancer class. Overall impressions, and then we'll break it down by class and content there. What'd you think of the video? How's the game looking? Is this one that's on your radar, or is it just another, theme park MMO for you?
Yeah, I mean, it looked neat. It looked nice. There was a lot of action combat, all sorts of different stuff going on. For me, though, what sells me on an MMO, though, is going to be showing me what is different, what is unusual about your game. And with this video, hey, they got classes, they do stuff, and there's dungeons.
Yeah.
Wow, I never expected that in an MMO.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this really didn't showcase anything special, per se.
And I'm not writing on Skyforge or anything.
Yeah.
Every MMO does this, but it's like they've talked about some of their like worldwide invasion kind of things. That's the sort of thing that if that looks good and if that looks fun, that could get me into playing. This is, for like you said, for one of their first kind of show off the game videos, yeah, it's all right, but it doesn't like give me wood. Can I say that?
I'm not sure you can say that, but it doesn't matter. You already did. So, yeah, one of the things with Skyforge that wasn't really talked about in the videos, there is really no level progression system. You don't level from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It's all about the gear, which we've kind of talked about. That's what endgame becomes for most theme park MMORPGs anyway, so why not just build a game where, screw that whole leveling stuff that you're going to sell me an item to bypass at some point anyway.
And see, that's the cool, unusual thing I would have liked to have heard mentioned in a video, but,
Yeah,
later,
it's all
video.
that, and they did talk about they've been answering a lot of viewer questions lately, their community team. I would assume that Spunkify's been answering some of these himself. But one that I saw yesterday that I really kind of was digging was somebody that was asking, hey, I'm a solo MMORPG player because I don't have a lot of time to sink into them. I play for an hour or two here and there type deal. Am I going to be able to progress, as well as people that are playing 15 hours per week and stuff like that? And they did kind of say, look, it's an MMORPG. The MMO part of that is kind of a staple in what we're doing here, and so there is group stuff. Are you ever going to have the best gear in the game? No. You're going to have pretty decent gear, and you'll be able to craft, and you'll be able to do other things solo and get good gear, but are you going to get that top tier? Probably not. However, our group content and our raid content isn't made to be a 3 or 4 hour extravaganza. They are supposed to be smaller bites of content, and that gear is only a third of your character's overall power anyway, because the rest of it comes from the strength of all of your followers, as you're, getting them to do things for you, and the weapons. And so, yeah, I kind of like some of the things they're doing in the background. They really didn't showcase any of that in the video. So I'm with you. The video wasn't awe-inspiring or making me really, really want to play, but I'll tell you what it did do. You have the ability in this, just like in Final Fantasy XIV, to swap classes on the fly.
Yeah, I heard that when they were talking about it, and I was like, wow, that sounds neat. I wish it would have shown it. I wish it would have actually shown you how to do that. But
yeah, so it's kind of like, well, you pick the one you want to start with, but you're not locked into it, which is great. But I will tell you one thing this video did for sure. It told me I definitely don't want to play Paladin.
Why is that?
To me, were you intrigued by the Paladin?
I prefer the Cryomancer too.
I did.
The thing that I'm going to hate about Cryomancers, again, since they can change classes, it won't be as big a deal. But it's like when I played Neverwinter, like about 1/3 of every Dark Elf rogue had some variation of Driss Jordan in his name. Every female Cryomancer is going to be some version of Elsa from Frozen. You just know it. Like at least half to a third of them are going to be like that. So.
Yeah, the Paladin to me just, I hate to use this word, but it seemed kind of boring to me. Not only, granted, Paladin, we expect it to just run in and start smacking things with it.
Paladin-y things.
Yeah.
Which, again, we've seen 100 times. So.
Yeah, it did Paladin-y things. But even that, I've seen tanking classes that I'm like, you know what, that's probably a lot of fun to play, and you've got to watch what's going on. To me, it just looked like there wasn't... Okay, just go in there and you have 4 or 5 abilities, swing away. When it flipped to the Cryomancer, there was a lot more strategy going on to me. That the Cryomancer almost died a couple of times in this video here, and I'm going to show some of this while we're talking about it. This is the Paladin gameplay right now that we're looking at. And it just literally just stood there and you just see the abilities firing 1, 2, 3, 4, but everything kind of looked the same. When you get to the Cryomancer almost died in this video. When they pull particularly 2 groups of monsters, one after the other, they had to be a lot more strategic in what abilities were fired, what those abilities were trying to do to kind of crowd control and isolate targets. It seemed a lot more on the edge of your seat interactive. And so right away it was like, well, Cryomancer, if I had to pick between the two, I'm going Cryomancer.
Yeah, and that's because you're a cool guy and you're awesome at video games and so on. But I understand you need some of the more tanky classes where people just go in and whack stuff if they want to have a somewhat easier time of it. And in general, it looked like the Cryomancer did better DPS than the Paladin by a pretty good margin. So again, there's that kind of balance between survivability and damage. So yeah, but for that same reason, I think I was more interested in the Cryomancer too.
I can't remember. Is Skyforge the one with no dedicated healer? Is that what it is? Everybody has the ability to heal themselves to a certain extent. And we kind of saw that with Guild Wars too. Well, although people have turned some of those roles into dedicated healers, but the original intent was to not have a dedicated tank and healer and DPS. I don't know. In general, I like the idea of solo dungeons. I don't. Do you like those?
I like that at least the bosses they had some interesting mechanics to them. Usually you do some sort of solo dungeon or something, and it's just tank and spank basically, and they've got like one ability you have to avoid.
If you're watching the
these
video,
these looked like group encounters where you might have a few different things to deal with, and ads, and don't stand in the circle and whatever, and interacting with the thing to throw the acid into the one guy's mouth. That was kind of neat. So yeah, a little bit I like it.
Yeah, there was. If you're watching the video here on YouTube, you're seeing the boss right now where you have to keep interacting with the environment to throw the acid into the monster's mouth to keep these ads from spawning. I'm also going to jump ahead to that last boss. Let me see if I can find it here in the video.
The one where that brought down the rocks?
Where you had to dodge into the circles of rocks going around that center pillar. So just to kind of point out the mechanics that you were just talking about, it's the Paladin that fights that one.
No, it's the Cryomancer.
Nope, it's the Paladin. It's the second boss.
I was talking about the one that dropped the rocks on the ceiling and you have to hide behind.
Yeah, I'll show that in a second here. That's the Cryomancer fighting the last boss. This right now you're watching the Paladin fight the second boss of this dungeon, where they have to beat down the boss a little bit, and at periodic intervals the pillar in the center of the arena lights up, and it's a race between your character and the boss to get to the pillar. If the boss gets there, it gets a huge buff. If you get there, you can stop the boss from getting that buff. But as the fight progresses, when that pillar lights up, just like you saw now, these orbs fly around it. You've got to dodge your way into there. They'll knock you back. I do like the mechanics. I actually really like solo dungeons. The first time I played an MMORPG that really delved into solo and duo dungeons was Ion. And granted, they were not. Some of them, some of the later ones were pretty good, especially in one of the most recent updates. But when they first implemented it, the bosses had almost very little mechanics. I mean, it was just go in and keep yourself alive versus the 7 ads that are going to pop up periodically. So I do like solo dungeons, even in an MMORPG, because it gives you that little off content to do at 2 in the morning when you can't sleep or whatever. So I'm glad to see that it's in here. I don't know if my hype level is very high for Skyforge yet. That's not to say the game's bad. It's just from what I've seen, I want to see more of those systems that do differentiate it from other MMORPGs, and we just haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much where I'm at too. If only we knew a good community manager could describe all that stuff to us.
Right? Let me jump ahead here to is this the final boss? Yeah. So this is what, Jason, you were talking about with the rocks coming down, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the correct answer.
And then, so what's the whole point here? Is this line of sight behind these rocks?
Well, first of all, he does drop the rocks in the ceiling. You want to avoid that. And then the rocks stay.
Don't get crushed.
That's a good thing. Then the rocks stay there for a little while, and he'll do a channel move, and you have to get behind a rock so that, yes, you AoE and don't get hit by that big move. He fails that once, and gets hit and loses like 3/4 of his health. So it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, I just saw him take a hit here for half of his health because he didn't get behind the rock in time. These little yellow orbs that are dropping, by the way, the one thing I did not like right off the bat, as soon as I saw it, was that, and it's kind of that Vindictus style of boss health bar, where it's ×1, ×2, ×3.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at first, but then when I saw what they were doing with it, I really, really thought, you know what, okay, I can deal with it then. Those yellow orbs that you're seeing fly off of these bosses are health orbs. They'll regenerate some of your health, and they fly off when you've cleared 1 bar. So as this first boss here gets down to 9 bars left, you'll see health orbs. So there's always again, with no dedicated healer, keep yourself alive.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not super pumped about it yet. I want to get in there and play it a little bit, and we still got a while before this one actually makes it to a full launch state. I would assume, though, that we're going to see that in 2015 based on all the press we've seen so far.
Yeah.
It's looking good. I can't fault it graphically or anything.
Huh?
Are you looking forward to Skyforge? Let us know in the comments below. Let's move on because we've got a lot to cover. You put up an article this week where you ran through some of your predictions for 2015, and I was mentioned at 1 or 2 points because we disagree on a couple of them. So I wanted to put it out there for maybe if you're watching this on YouTube but you're not checking out the things we post on mmobomb.com, obviously I would encourage you to do so. It's not just news that we post there. We've got a bunch of different things, and we cover them on this show. So check those out. But I wanted to bring that discussion to YouTube here for those that aren't on the site and go through Mr. Winter's predictions for 2015 free-to-play. What do you got, Jason? Let's run through it.
The first one was, I think that no major sub-based MMO will go free to play.
And instantly we disagreed.
Yeah, instantly you can have wrong with that.
Instantly we disagreed. Go ahead with your rationale first.
My rationale, I mean, the big ones, if you think about the newer stuff, you got like Final Fantasy XIV, which I think is totally stable.
Yeah.
Then you have a few that kind of struggled a bit this year, Elder Scrolls Online and WildStar. And my thought is that they did good enough initially. Like they got enough hype. They made a lot of sales initially. WildStar maybe a little less so, but I think they have the cred, their system in place to help keep them going along with subscription costs. So I think they're going to stay okay. And I think Elder Scrolls Online does a lot better than we think it does. Last numbers I saw is that they had like 750,000 subscribers. I don't know how accurate. I don't
and
know
that's
where that
one
came
that
from,
keeps
but that was
going up.
semi-official.
That one keeps going up because a lot of the changes they're making are direct community feedback changes.
Yeah, so I think they'll be okay for a while, or even if they did change, again, I'm of the opinion they would go buy to play because that's more keeping in line with the other Elder Scrolls games. It would feel more like those. I don't think they'll go free to play. And then you have the old games, your WoW, your Eve, whatever, and they're still churning along just fine. I don't think they'd ever go free to play.
Yeah, I agree with you on those. Final Fantasy XIV is doing ridiculously well for a subscription-based game in this era. WildStar and Elder Scrolls, I think, are the ones everybody's looking to see when, if they'll go free-to-play. I disagree with you. I think one of them's definitely going free-to-play this year. I wouldn't be surprised by either one, I'm leaning more towards WildStar being it simply because their publisher is NCSoft, who has a history of free-to-play games and could really make the conversion pretty easily. They would have to revamp the whole cred thing at that point, and what are they going to do with that? Although that'd be similar to like what Rift does with Plex.
That's true.
So I could see it working, and I could see NCSoft being kind of the impetus behind it, saying these aren't quite the numbers we expected. We need to get more people in here and see what we can do longer term. So I wouldn't be more surprised if it's WildStar, but I think definitely one of them, maybe even both of them, go free to play in 2015 in my book. As well as Elder Scrolls is doing, I think they want more, and they need more to keep it going long term. So I would not be surprised if both actually went this year. What else you got?
I think Overwatch is going to be free to play.
I think we both agree on that one. As soon as we saw it, that's free to play.
Yeah, even though they're being all coy about, we don't know, it might be, it might not. Yeah, it's gonna be.
We're just developing it. We don't know. We don't know. All right, what else? We both agree on that one, and I think generally the internet agrees with us on that one.
Yes, I say EverQuest Next will not exist in a playable form, like on the level that we've seen with Landmark, or like H1Z1 if you're going with other SOE games.
This is the other one, the
This is
major
the other
one
one
we
you
disagree
disagree on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think they're going to be? I think that they just, as we saw with the H1Z1, how long SOE took to get that into early access, based on what we kind of think they got a little burned with on Landmark. I think they're going to wait, and they're going to make sure they have something in great condition before they give it to us. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. Well, although I will say that after I wrote this and I had that Landmark little interview thing like a day later, they talked about how once we get all this stuff done in Landmark, we have all this ready, then we could fully shift over to EverQuest Next. So I was kind of thinking, well, maybe they're kind of wrapping up Landmark, so to speak, and they're going to do so. But I'm going to stick to my guns. Let's stick with it.
And I think we're going to... I don't know if we'll have launch. I'm not going to go that far.
Access. I'm talking about playable for early access. Something on that.
I think we will see that in 2015. And the reason that I think that is, it's valid points with the H1Z1 and the Sony Online kind of shifting to this wait till it's ready, but actually wait until it's ready instead of every other developer that says it'll be ready when it's ready and it's ready 6 months earlier than it should have been. Elder Scrolls Online. I think we're going to see an alpha, an early access, a beta, maybe even a beta for EverQuest Next. The reason I think that, though, is because of Landmark. If Landmark wasn't there, I would agree with you.
It's not like they're starting from scratch.
Yes, they're going to be taking so much of Landmark and pushing it into Next that I think we will see a beta, or at least an alpha or an early access type thing in 2015. A playable form to most of the general public that wants to pay a couple of bucks and do so. What else?
My next is the MOBA train will slow down. I think we finally reached kind of like peak MOBA, where people are finally starting to realize that, maybe this isn't the easy key to riches that we thought it was. We see League of Legends or Dota or whatever. And I referenced Dongate in there falling apart. And even with a big company like that, like EA has a MOBA that they think isn't good enough to put out there, I think that kind of acts as a deterrent to all the smaller companies. I think they can just plop one out there and have it be huge. I think we've kind of well established. There's not going to be any announced, or that there might not even be a pretty decent sized one, but it's not going to be like the one a month kind of feel like we've had for the last couple of years.
I agree with that one. I think Dawngate was a huge eye opener for a lot of people. There's not too much to argue on that one. Let's move on.
I was going to say, though, in one of the comments, someone said, "What is going to replace that? What train is going to do it?" And he had a good suggestion that it could be like survival. That seems to be still on the upswing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Do you know what viewer it was? Can we give a little kudos? Maybe look that up while we're here.
Quick.
Give him a little kudos.
Yes, Adrian 87. Good old Adrian.
Nice. What's next?
Well said. And my final one is that one long-running free-to-play MMO will shut down.
All right, hold on. I have to ask. So, for those of you that do read the stuff on the site, the way this stuff normally works in the background is the smaller news pieces Jason and I scour. We make sure we're not covering the same thing, but then we just write them and we put them up, right?
Okay.
And we kind of proofread ourselves. For some of the bigger pieces, we bounce them off of each other because you get in that typing groove and who knows what happens when you have something that ends up being 2 pages long. So I'll send something to Jason. He'll proofread it a second time after I've done so. I do the same thing for his. We go back and forth. Usually when these things go up, I'm the one grabbing images. And I have to ask, because I grabbed the images for these pieces. Did you notice the image I put with this paragraph?
Is that Lord of the Rings Online?
It was Lord of the Rings Online.
See, but the thing is, even though I kind of gave Turbine some stuff for this, I know that their license for that runs until 2017.
Right.
So that's why I didn't include it. That's why I kind of mentioned Dungeons & Dragons Online, although some people in the comments said it had a really good community. I always thought it seemed kind of small and niche, so maybe I'm wrong on that one. But yeah, I mentioned Age of Conan. What else? Like something like Champions Online, because Perfect World's having kind of a rough time of things too. And every now and then, like about once a year, we get one decent sized, maybe it's not even decent sized anymore, but something that was pretty big in the past. It's kind of diminished and it shuts down, kind of semi-unexpectedly. So I think we are going to see at least one of those this year.
Like a City of Heroes type.
Yeah, like City of Heroes.
All of a sudden, it's going away
from way back when.
That's another one that I don't think I can argue much with. I think we're going to see one. Unfortunately, I think Lord of the Rings is a 2016 ender right there. I'm not sure exactly when. Do we know a month in 2017 that contract ends? Because here's the deal. If you know the contract is ending in 2017, they've already at Turbine have got to already be looking at, okay, obviously we're not going to be releasing any long-term new content in this one. There aren't going to be another big expansion on the horizon. Maybe one, I don't know.
Yeah,
if they already had it in development.
I could see a Mordor expansion.
Yeah, something to just cap it all off with. So it becomes that, is it worth it to keep it open through 2015, 2016? Are we making enough money that at least just holding the game up is worth it? Or, hey, our contract's up, we're done, we put the Mordor patch in, it's going to close 2016, even though the contract goes to 2017. I'm going to be sad to see that one go. I haven't played a lot of Lord of the Rings Online, but that's like such an icon as far as fantasy goes that I'm going to be sad when that one finally goes.
You're going to be sad. I put in like
I don't even want
6 months of game time. That's my total / played or whatever.
Oh, God. Ugh. I can't imagine. All right, let's get to it. This is what everybody's waiting for.
Are they really?
The Fans' Choice Awards. Now, Jason, I've purposely avoided this post. So 2 weeks ago, we posted the nominees for...
1 week.
Was it 1 week?
Just last week. Yeah.
Last week. We posted all the nominees for the Fans' Choice Awards. We broke it down into category. Now, I've purposely avoided looking at the post because I wanted to try and take some guesses here as we go through on the free-to-play cast. So I'm going to turn the host of the conversation over to you on this one, Jason.
Well, definitely it looked like, we did the free-to-play contest back in March, the big tournament thing. A few games mobilized their fan bases very well to get themselves placed well. And there was definitely a little bit of that going on here as well, which was great as long as you're doing it naturally. I even looked at like the IP addresses and whatever, and there was no 600 votes from one computer or anything like that. So all pretty good, all looked legit. So. But definitely there were a few surprises, unless you knew, as I did from remembering this, how some of these companies, fan bases really got into it. So to go with the best MMORPG Eastern, Eastern, Japanese, Asian, however kind of flavor you want to put that, the winner of that was, not surprisingly, again, if you recognized it from when we did this before, the Mabinogi. Those guys really came out and made pretty good votes, made a good job of it. Didn't run away with it, as you might have thought.
They know how to mobilize their fan base.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as crazy as like it was the last time. They got 42% of the vote. Terra was number 2 with 23%. And guess what was number 3?
What were the nominees again? Arcade was in there.
It was Arcade. So
was it Arcade?
Yeah, which admittedly I find a little surprising for as much crap as it's gotten. I'm surprised that it was still popular enough to at least nab that many votes.
It's still impressive to me, though, that Terra beat it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Mabinogi...
Not really. I mean, again, because you look at how, again, just as negative as it's been around Arcade.
Yeah, but Terra, until December 16th, has virtually done nothing new over the last year and a half with their own damn game.
Well, we posted the poll on December 16th, so there you go.
Yeah, the day the expansion launched. By the way, I've been playing Fate of Rune. I'm almost level 62 on my Archer. Haven't played my healer or my warrior yet. What's the next category? It's the Western.
RPG, Western MMORPG. Can you make a guess on that one?
What were the nominees?
You could open the article and look at it.
No, I don't want to look because I voted and it'll show me the winners.
I'd have to know I don't have the nominees there either.
If I open the article, since I did vote, I was like the second voter.
I see what you're saying. Well, actually, no, it even doesn't that. It says poll is closed now, so.
Oh, okay, cool. So I can.
All right, well, I'm not going to rattle off all the nominees, then. That'll take too long. But the winner was Path of Exile.
Whoa!
Mm-hmm.
Wow!
30% of the votes.
I know Star Wars: The Old Republic was in there.
Yep, that was number 3 with 13%, and with 14% was Neverwinter.
Wow, Neverwinter was second.
Yes.
Wow! Path of Exile ran away with that one.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I'm not that surprised with it. I mean, it is really, really popular.
Yeah, but I didn't expect it to win Best MMORPG Western.
It's just so new, I think, that we kind of forget about it.
It's not really new, though.
So it's only been.
I remember talking about Path of Exile before I left MMO Bomb for a while.
Yeah, was it out though? Was it actually?
We played in an alpha, I think, at that stage. You know, we got a look at an alpha when we did the first look. Wow, I'm really surprised that. I'm not surprised that it won. I'm surprised by the margin. I mean, it doubled up second place. And then Neverwinter beating out Star Wars: The Old Republic is a little bit surprising to me, too. I gotta be honest, because Neverwinter...
As good as Archage, I'm surprised Rift didn't place higher.
I think people are angry at Tryon.
Well, but again, they went for Archage, so...
But in third. They let Terra beat it. That's depressing if you're an Arcade fan.
All right, best MOBA. Again...
So this would have been League of Legends, Dota 2, Heroes of Newerth... What other ones? Infinite Crisis? Was that on there?
I think so. God, I have to look this up now. I have to look at the spreadsheet and find it. Whatever.
I mean, I'm going to go with an obvious choice here. I'm going to say Dota 2 took it.
Yeah, no. They were third.
What? Okay, so then League of Legends took it.
They were second.
Because
again, those guys at AirMech are kind of crazy. They do a good job of mobilizing their fan base.
You've got to be kidding me.
Nope, I am not.
AirMech won this. I'm not saying anything wrong against AirMech. I've played it in a Bomb live stream before, and I did enjoy it. But there is no way that should have won against League of Legends and Dota 2.
Well, maybe League and Dota should have mobilized their fan bases a little better then. I'm just saying.
Wow. Yeah, they need to start tweeting, because you just lost to AirMech.
Well.
Congratulations to AirMech and their crew, man. Nice job mobilizing the AirMech army.
All right. Best shooter. Now, this was the closest match in all of it. Closest between first and second. There's a pretty good 1-3 spread later on. No, not a huge surprise in this one. Let's see if you can figure out what the best shooter was.
Okay, I remember your rules on this category where it was just shooters in general. There was no FPS in third person. It was just
right.
So we had, what did we have in there? Did we have Warframe in there?
We did.
We probably had Team Fortress 2 in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a Ghost Recon Online.
I believe so.
What else would we have had in there?
The
We would have had a bunch in that one.
Yeah, we had like 7 or 8, I think. So what do you think won?
What do I think won? I'm gonna go with Warframe. They've got a big community that's really active, and all it would have taken is one tweet from the Warframe team, and I think they could have steamrolled this one.
I would have thought so too, because they actually won our tournament back in March, but they were actually second.
Wow.
By 1 percentage point. Let's see how many actual votes. Let's see, pull up the votes. They were second by 25 votes.
Wow.
Team Fortress 2 won it. They had 30% total.
Oh, I guess if you got to lose, though, Team Fortress 2 is one I could see you losing to.
Right.
Again, just because of the size of community.
Warframe
One
was
tweet,
number 2
I think if Warframe would have just pushed a little harder, their community is one of those communities that rallies to things.
Well, like I said, that's why they won the tournament back in March, no doubt.
What's up next?
All right. By the way, number 3 was PlanetSide 2 with 17% on that. All right. Best card game. And I actually kind of talked to you about this a little beforehand, so...
Yeah, so this would have been Hearthstone, Might and Magic Duel of Champions, Infinity Wars, Soulforge, and Card Hunter. And I already know the winner, so just go ahead with this one.
It was Infinity Wars. They mobilized their guys and had 50% of the vote. Full 50%. That is actually the highest for any...
what did Hearthstone finish with?
Second with 38.
Second.
And then Might and Magic Duel of Champions had 7.
Wow. Where was Soulforge? Dead last?
Yes.
Wow. That's
Card
kind of
under-
surprising to me.
Card under 3% Soulforge 2.
Wow.
All right. Next up was the vehicular game category, which I wanted to separate from shooters. I feel like the driving and shooting thing is sort of a very different thing from just straight up shooting. So, number one. Well, go ahead, take a shot. The list
Okay,
was,
so this would have been like our World of Tanks and
Hawken, MechWarrior Online, Need for Speed World, War Thunder, World of Tanks, World of Warplanes.
I got to go with World of Tanks taking it.
Yep, that was number one, 29%. Hawken was number two, with 24, and War Thunder was 22.
Wow, nice job, Hawken.
Mm-hmm.
I was
surprised by that.
Yeah, where'd
World of
MechWarrior
Warplanes,
finish?
however, only 3%, a little lower than World of Tanks.
Where'd MechWarrior finish?
MechWarrior was second to last, 8%.
Wow, I'm really surprised at how well Hawken did then. That had to be because they reached out to the teams. Whew.
Okay.
Who else?
And then our biggest category, one with the most stuff, which was just basically a copy of our most anticipated list from last week, was, well, most anticipated.
I'm gonna
List
go
here.
with, so we've got we put Heroes of the Storm at number 1 in the piece, in the write-up.
What do you mean by that? Put it at number one.
That was in our top 10 list.
Oh, I see, in our top. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
the article that was posted, we had it at number 1 as the most anticipated.
The list going down was Blade and Soul, EverQuest Next, Fortnite, H1Z1, Heroes of the Storm, Landmark, Nosgoth, Phantasy Star Online 2, Skyforge, World of Warships.
I'd love it to be PS02, but I haven't heard a peep out of that, so I can't really put it on my list. I really am looking forward to Fortnite. Really, really, really looking forward to Fortnite, and really looking forward to shit. What was the MMORPG in the middle there?
EverQuest Next.
Yes,
H1Z1?
yes.
Okay.
Ever blanked out. EverQuest Next. I'm gonna go that the fans probably voted for Next.
I'm gonna say that again. We might know a community manager who helped Skyforge take it all.
Get the hell out of here!
Yeah, they had
Skyforge took it.
33% of the votes.
Who came in second?
Which, just to clarify too, that's not like we told Spunkify to go tell all your people. We just posted this and let him do whatever he wanted, just like everyone else. But
Yeah.
of course, he watches our site a little bit more than most people, so he probably.
Yeah, the
little
only
more-
advertising we did for this so that games knew they were nominated was the day after it posted. I blasted the categories out with all the nominees on Twitter. That was it, and the rest of it was up to the gaming companies to mobilize their crowds.
Right.
Skyforge, wow. Who came in second?
Blade and Soul,
I don't know.
which again is like one of the. Well, anyway, I won't get into my.
They put an update on their North American page back on December 5th. I was going to write about it at the time, but there was nothing to write about. It was a post saying, "Sorry you've had to wait. We're working really hard. Please wait." It's like this would be the dumbest article I ever posted. That's surprising. That
And then
Skyforge.
I was a little surprised to see Phantasy Star Online 2 be number 3. Just because, as you said, there's just no talk about it.
See, bring it to the West, Sega. Stop screwing around. All right, well, congratulations to all the winners of the Fans' Choice Awards. Check it out. We're always running different things like this. Like Jason does a March Madness thing and all kinds of fun stuff. So if you want to express your opinions on any of the games we've talked about and the most anticipated, of course, put it in the comments below or come on over to mmobomb.com and hang out. Let's do the weekly bombs. Mr. Winter, you're up first today, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, leading in or segueing in, I'm going to give it to bomb to everyone who voted because they were all clean about it.
Very
There was
nice.
no shenanigans, except for one game that had maybe a few too many votes from a certain IP, but it still won anyway, so it was not a big deal. I'm not going to say who it was. But yeah.
Oh, how can you do that? You can't leave us hanging like that.
No, it was still good. I was really surprised to see how good it was. To see there wasn't a whole lot of griping and moaning about this or that or the other thing. So, a lot better than what it used to be. Congratulations, everyone who voted, especially to the winners.
I'm going to give my bomb to the MMO bomb community. It's been a hell of a year. If I'm looking at it globally, not just free-to-play, to me it was kind of a disappointing year for gaming, 2014. But we had a lot of fun, especially on the site and doing the show and being reunited with MMO bomb and Mr. Winter here. I'm loving it. So, bomb to everybody. Have a happy new year. We'll see you next year. Now, viewer bombs, I actually have one I forgot to put in the show notes because it came directly to my email. This is from Andrew Cars. Dabom de Wakfu. Turn-based strategy combat may make it slow, but the thought put into strategy makes up for it. And unlike some strategy games with 20 actives and 5 passives all obtainable by level 9, you have enough options not to get bored that fast. The game has 16 classes at the moment. Each playstyle feels different, and some are even complex to figure out. Also, a small pet peeve I have with some MMOs is the progression line is always straightforward, grind, grind, grind. And there's a bit of that here. Because there's a few quests, but with main way of getting equips being from enemies and the dungeon equips being way better, you actually feel like doing the dungeons are worth actually doing and not just going, I'll skip it. I actually did the first look a while ago for Wakfu. The only thing I didn't like about that game is I felt like you really needed to pay their little monthly fee for that one. As much as I did enjoy the game, I didn't really think it was totally free to play. You really should have that little sub thingy job they have. Who's next?
My favorite trivia bit that I think of Wakfu all the time is that it launched on February 29th.
Yeah, leap year.
All right, next comes from Salatic Spot. It says, I have a Dabom for Vindictus, which you did on Bomb Live recently, Magic Man. Oh, good for you.
Yes.
The newest class character released, Arisha, and she's fun to play, not to mention that server lag with the new character release is much better than it has been in past content releases. I also have a question similar to V29's D&D question. Would you like to see more MMOs with an age mechanic similar to Elsword's branching classes that also ages your character a little? I think this is a very good way to convey your character's progression and increase strength. I'm not really familiar with how that works. It actually like changes how your character looks in his face, or
I would definitely like to see age mechanics in MMO. In MMOs. I would love to see characters dying and transferring to their progeny different stats based on what they accomplished. I think a system like that, if done right, could be really, really cool, actually.
I'm not sure I'm a fan. I think people spend so much time getting their character exactly right in an MMO that you do the wrong thing or you take too long to do something. Now you've got a scar. I could see some of it. It could be interesting, but
right. But then look at that. You're creating a new character all the time.
But all the time that we spend playing, our characters will be old and dead by now.
Right. So your character dies and you pass your whatever. I think it could be something pretty neat. Sailor Naruto, question for Magic Man. You always say what types of games you're bad at. What types of games are you good at? I personally seem to suck at all games. Also, do you and Jason or anyone else of MMO Bomb ever have serious disagreements?
Serious?
I'm good at theme park MMOs. Generally, if it's PvP, I'm going to be bad at it. I do enjoy it. I don't have the time to sink into most games PvP to get proficient enough at it to be competitive, but I'm very good at theme park MMOs and sand park where it's learning strategies. I don't like to watch videos. I'd rather learn it with a group of people and teach other people to do it. That's my niche. And Jason, do we ever really have disagreements? Jason and I argue a lot, but it's usually philosophical or methodology arguments that companies, we may disagree on. I don't think we really have serious disagreements.
Yeah, the thing that still sticks out of my mind is when you were upset about SOE's community team taking a harder stance on censoring people saying bad things. I remember you being really ticked off about that.
Wow, I don't even remember that. What the hell happened?
They were going to do that, and then you were like, well, now Smedley's just going to jump in, and anytime someone says something bad about him, they're going to ban the guy from the forums or something like that.
Oh!
You were going nuts.
Wow, yeah, that did piss me off. Yeah, that pissed me off a little bit. So yeah, we do debate things like what happens on this show usually. We just debate them behind the scenes, and sometimes we even write about them. So, oh yeah, you're up.
Get the long one now. All right, here's from Mercatus. All right, it says not really the bomb, just sort of general commentary. So we'll see. All right. 1. All max or next to max hello Terra boosts are mostly a bad idea. This sounds like more of a question of the week, wasn't it? Sort of. Anyway, all max or next to max boosts are mostly a bad idea because, as the guy above, which I assume was in a comment, stated, it's a noob generator tool that does nothing but annoy the living hell out of legit players who know how their tune works and how dungeon mechanics work. Because they spend time learning all that stuff, while noob does not, so you just bought max level, skipping all those billions of mobs you killed to train your skills, adjusting reaction speeds, etc., etc. You don't need a billion mobs to learn how to press 1. that last bit was mine. I agree. Going straight to max level and trying to do a dungeon, that's kind of not great. Near to max, if the max level is 60 and it gets you to 50 or 55, so you spend some time learning your rotations or whatever, I think that's fine. I don't think you need 60 hours to learn how to play your class. I just and you're skipping dungeons most of the time anyway, so people just ramp up to max anyway. So, all right, number 2 on Mercatus' list. Again, I think we're still just talking about the max boosts.
Yeah, I put this all together because it kind of was like one big A-bomb for max boosting.
Okay. It's a nice little income for developer, but at the expense of a lot of annoyed legit players, and it may just get those legit players annoyed enough to quit the game or quit spending. Still worth it? I don't think so. Again, I can't say I totally agree. I see a little bit of grousing every now and then, but I've never seen a whole lot of it, at least in games I play that offer that. So, 3, it's a nice feature for crappy games because the low mid-level content is crap. I'm using little euphemisms here for what I said. And the game is designed to milk cash, nothing more. So, yeah, I agree. It is for games because their low to mid-level stuff is crap, which is why you want to skip it, which is why you try to skip it quickly anyway and don't learn your class, even if you go through it legitimately. So,
on that note, though, there's a lot of big AAA titles where the low to mid-level stuff is crap too. I mean, let's be fair.
It's not just the crappy free-to-play or whatever, you know. But yeah, I mean, here's a suggestion: stop making games like that. That's my thought. But anyway, and then continuing, a good question would be: how the hell did Terra end up with it? Big fail. Gee, Terra doesn't have crappy mid-part leveling. No, not at all.
Yeah, but to explain this one too, Terra really didn't end up with it. They really didn't end up with a boost. They did a one-time thing months and months and months ago, where they said, "Hey, we're going to test some coding on our side. What we need is players to go in and create a character and put this in the name somewhere." I forget what it was, like some type of underscore suffix at the end of the name.
Yeah.
And because we want to run some scripts to see how we can influence characters. So anybody that has that name will boost you to level 58. So it wasn't even, they weren't even boosting you to level cap. You weren't quite there. You were like 2 levels away.
Yeah, but you didn't spend time killing billions of mobs to get there, so you're no good.
Yeah, so it was like a one-time freebie. Now, does that mean that they were doing that months and months ago because they intend to put something in the shop in the future as a level boost? I don't know, but Terra did not end up with one. There is not a max level boost in the game yet.
Sure. All right.
Question of the week last week. What was your favorite gaming gift this year? Whether you received it from someone else, bought it for yourself, let us know about it. Hicks64 says, my favorite gaming gift this year were the 2 monitor arms I got. I have way more desk space. My ginormous mouse pad isn't overlapping anything, and I feel like I'm in the future.
You say that now until your monitor now grows the arms and starts coming out, starts to kill you, strangle you.
Congratulations, Hicks64. Sounds awesome.
All right, the next one is from Jareem Gooding. My favorite gift is listening to the free-to-play cast every time. Always makes my day. Aw, thanks, Jareem.
Well, happy holidays. Glad we could give, because this is actually going up on Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, there you go. Yeah. Consider it a present to you. Oh, great, I get this name. 32 Lizotusum. I don't know. Normally I could, like, kind of see what the leet speak is. 32 Liz O Tuzum. I don't know. My gift was a new PC to play Black Desert and Grand Theft Auto 5. Damn, I wish I got a new PC.
I wish I had. You can't play either of those games yet either, but someday. By the time you can play those, though, your PC will be outdated. You need a new one.
There you go.
Well, GTA 5 next month, but whatever. Anyway, and from Fresh Undead. As always, great show. As for gaming gifts, my wife got me a couple skins for League of Legends that were great. And my question for both of you is, have you ever spent enough money in or on a game that made it hard to walk away from your investment? For me, it would be League of Legends and Dungeons & Dragons Online, spent more than I care to think about, especially on DDO. Makes me go back time and again, though I hate the new skill tree, so I wish more games would implement classic servers for their games. I'm good at walking away when I feel like I need to. I mean, it was hard for me in cases of something like Lord of the Rings Online when I stepped away from that for... more or less for a couple years, basically barely played it. It's not even money investment as much as it is. It's time. I think if you have like a level 60 character or whatever, you've gotten all the raid gear. Even if you like were a free-to-play player and had never spent a dime or anything, that part is hard to walk away from.
I agree with you on that front. So I'll just take the financial aspect of the question then. I really don't spend a ton in free-to-play games. I mean, if I had to... Rift is the one I've spent the most cash in. Like, legitimately just funneled cash into the cash shop for different things, not collector's sets or stuff, which I bought those too, but just counting cash shop items. And I guess it's hard for me to go away from Rift because I like the game and I don't mind spending the money in it, but I'm still in the middle of my boycott, and I'm staying strong. My Arbiter...
Stay strong, brother.
My Arbiter is still level 61. I have not used my free level 60 boost with the collector set. I'm still going strong on that one. Question of the week for 2 weeks from now. No show next week. What new feature or system would you like to see in an MMO in 2015? Nothing's off limits, so go as crazy as you want. Don't worry about cash or restrictions or software. Just what do you want to see, new feature or system-wise, in MMORPGs next year? Mr. Winter, where can everybody follow you after the holiday season?
Or even before.
Or even before.
Yeah, because it's going to go up on Christmas. All right. After the holiday season, you can follow me on Twitter at WinterInformal. Follow me streaming twitch.tv/JasonWinter. Every now and then I might occasionally blog over at jasonwinter.wordpress.com.
I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me and my noisy dog on Twitter at MagicMan1, MagicManN1. And, of course, always stop over to mmobomb.com. Check out all the great things Jason and I post there on a daily basis. Until next time, gang, happy holidays, stay safe, and we'll see you out on the servers.